Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. We are taking a look at some bunker play fundamentals, which is going to help you get out the sand onto the green, closer to the hole, and save you shots. Now, I'm making this video because yesterday I was giving my mum a little bit of a bunker lesson. She's always struggled with bunkers. It's something a lot of high handicap golfers obviously really struggle with, but a lot of really low handicap golfers and tour players do incredibly well with and get up and down almost every single time from the bunkers. And there's a few really important fundamentals to understand with bunker play that my mum was particularly falling into that I wanted to run you guys through and explain. So first of all, let's take a look at my mum's bunker shot and let's see what was going on. So this is the first kind of look as she was, before I gave her any sort of tips or any sort of feedback. So let's have a look what was going on. So as you can see, she's going to take the club back. All good so far, but if we notice, her right arm's going to get very deep in behind her. The left arm's also going to get bent, gets quite flat, comes in really shallow, and then she comes in and catches a lot of sand before the ball. Now let's take a look at this from front on to see what's going on. So from front on, we can see that first of all, even at setup, her spine angle is wrong. And this is something she struggles with a lot of things. She gets a bit of a reverse pivot, but it just happens more in her bunker play because she's trying to shift more weight onto her left side, like I always tell her. By the way, in bunker play, one of the first fundamentals I always say is, you want probably 60-70% of your weight on your front side, on that left foot if you're a right-handed golfer. As you can see from this, I've also drawn lines in the sand for her. I've drawn an alignment line for her feet and an alignment line for the ball and the club. And then I've also drawn a 2-inch box around the ball in the sand. That's kind of the area of sand you're looking to remove from the bunker. And then I've also drawn an alignment line with her front foot with the ball just behind that. But if we play this back slowly, we can see that, well, first of all, her spine angle is really wrong. If we pause it kind of at the top, she gets a little bit long in the swing and her arms start to bend and she reverse pivots, and then as she comes down, this is going to cause her to have to back out of it as she comes into impact and catch a lot of sand before the ball. And you can see there's no real transfer of weight onto that front foot through the shot. Now if we take a look at Rory Mcilroy hitting a bunker shot quickly, let's have a look and see how Rory does it, because obviously it is going to be quite different to what we've just seen with my mum. So let's take a look at Rory. So here's Rory Mcilroy set up for a bunker shot. First of all, set up much more over the ball. Pretty good setup, not too much to talk about there. If we take the club back, he's going to get a lot of cup in that left wrist because he's keeping that face as open as possible. Looks like he's hitting kind of a high, soft, short-sided bunker shot here. And as we swing down and through, he's also getting the club a bit more upright in terms of the club, the butt of the club pointing more down at the ground. And if we play this through, keeps the club face really, really open, gets the weight onto the left side as he throws the hands at it, coming underneath it. Doesn't take too much sand either. And if we look at the end of this, all his weight is going towards the target with, most of the weight on his front foot, as it would be for any other shot. Let's have a look one more time, and then I'm going to run you through some of the things I got my mum to work on to help improve her bunker play. So Rory is going to take the club more up and over his right shoulder, getting the shaft a little bit steeper, keeping that face open as he comes down into the ball, keeping that club face open and not taking too much sand, just kind of cutting right underneath the ball. And that is a really good look there. Now, if we go back to my mum, there's two things I want to kind of mention in terms of bunker play. There's two main ways to do it, I would say. You have a lot of players, and good players do both, by the way. There's not really one right way to do it. A lot of players will open their feet up quite a lot, and they will cut across the ball like they're hitting a big slice. For example, Jason Day does this, Colin Morikawa does this, Jordan Spieth kind of does this. So really, really good bunker players. And then there's another way to do it where you're not coming across the ball so much. You're actually getting more of a neutral path, and you're not hitting that slice. You're getting more of a neutral path, and you're allowing the sand to move the ball so that the ball will roll out like a putt. And that is my preferred method of doing it. And why is it my preferred method? Well, first of all, one of the best bunker players and one of the best short game coaches in the world coaches it, which is Pete Cowan, who is Rory Mcilroy's now swing coach and has coached a lot of the best players in the world, such as Brooks Koepka, Henrik Stenson, Lee Westwood, Darren Clarke. The list just goes on and on. Thomas Pieters, another one. And his method is more coming through more neutral, and really allowing the sand to move the ball, and you get the ball rolling out like a putt. This is actually something he picked up from Seve Ballesteros, because he used to play in the same era as him, and he used to watch him play in practice, and that's kind of what he picked up from him. So that's my preferred method. But with my mum, the problem is her club shaft and swing plane and everything, it was just too flat. So my priority with fixing her bunker play was to get the shaft a little bit more upright, a little bit more steep, so she's not coming in quite as shallow, get the club more in front of her instead of deep and in behind her, and to obviously fix that weight issue, fix her spine angle as she comes through the ball, get that left arm straighter, get the spine angle in the wrong place and the weight onto the left side. So we worked on it for a little while. As you can see here, I'm getting her to make some rehearsals, and the rehearsal I told her was try and get the grip facing the ground, try and get that grip a bit steeper facing the ground. As you can see her rehearsing and practicing here, and obviously she's not going to get it perfect first time or anything. It takes a little bit of practice, but that was the feeling of getting the more of a shoulder turn, and so that the arms don't get so deep in behind you, getting the club, getting the grip pointing more towards the ground, and then obviously getting that right hip to move a little bit back so that she doesn't reverse pivot, and then as she comes down, she can then hit down onto the ball and not take quite so much sand. Obviously it's going to be a little bit of a work in progress, but if we have a look, we did actually get it going quite a lot better. As we have a look here, if we take a look at this one, I got her coming more across the ball, just because it would have been very, very difficult to keep the her club path more neutral with how shallow she was. I wanted her to get the feeling like she was coming down more steep into the sand, to not take so much sand and come a little bit closer into the ball. And as you can see here, she does it pretty well, but her swing gets a little bit long, but then she does get the club a bit more in front of her, takes less sand. And obviously this is a fairly high lip on a bunker too, so to be able to get it out of this bunker for someone who's really struggled with bunker play for a long time is quite good, I would say. So let's have a look again at a different shot. I'm getting her to make these rehearsals, taking the club more up in front of her, over that right shoulder, pointing the grip down at the ground, and then from there she can drop the club down onto the ball, instead of when the club's behind you and the club's too flat, the weight of the club head wants to drop in behind you and come in too shallow and in behind you. Whenever you're talking about short game, chipping, pitching, whatever it is, you need a variety of steepness and shallowness, and you have different factors which affect each of them. This is something that there's a guy called James Seekman, who is one of the best short game coaches in the world. He coaches a lot of PGA Tour players, LPGA Tour players, all players of all levels, and he talks about having a combination of steepness and shallowness. And normally in a situation like this where someone's really bad at something, whether it's chipping, pitching, bunker play, whatever it is, or has like chipping yips, they have too much shallowness, too early in the swing, and then they try and put some steepness in later, and yeah, it's not going to work out too well. So if we have a look at my mum here, this one was better. You can see this one was actually really nice in terms of catches a good amount of sand, and actually it was probably the best strike she had, really. Really coming kind of underneath the ball, and her weight's still maybe not as through the ball as I would like it. There's always things to work on. The swing was a little bit long still, but to be able to go from where she was hitting probably a good foot behind the ball to now actually hitting just a few inches behind it and getting the ball out of quite a high lipped bunker onto the green was definitely an improvement. And if we have a look here from side on, you can see the rehearsals I'm getting her to make exaggerate the spine angle being back a bit more and getting the club more upright, and then from there she can drop it down into the sand, into that box that I've put around the ball there, and then we want her weight going through from there. So if we can see her swing, this one, I think she catches it a little bit heavy, but if we pause it at the top, the arms still get a little bit deep, the left arm's still a little bit bent, but it's a lot better. After this swing, I actually told her she needs to just shorten it up a little bit more, have a little bit more shorter swing and more acceleration, because I think that's what causes a bit of her reverse pivot as well, is where the swing gets too long and then the hips start to move and everything else. And as she comes down, she's able to actually, she comes in, still hits the sand before the box, but actually is able to still get the ball out of the bunker, because she has more margin for error there. Basically, she's coming through with more loft, more down onto the ball, and is able to get the ball out of the bunker, and she was pretty happy with that result. So a few things to bear in mind there, guys, with bunker play. One, make sure you're videoing yourself so that you understand what's happening, and make sure you video yourself from down the line and from front on. Make sure you set yourself up with that little those alignment aids that I've put into the sand, so you have one alignment aid for one line for your feet, one line for the ball, parallel lines. Then you have a line going from your front foot to the ball. Then you have a 2-inch box around the ball, when that is the area of sand you are trying to move. You don't want to be taking too much sand, and you don't want to be taking too little and hitting the ball first. Having that 2-inch box is a good area of sand in pretty much any kind of bunker to be able to remove. Then from there, 60% of your weight on your front foot, on your left side, but make sure you're still keeping that spine angle back, not reverse pivoting like my mum was. And from there, try and get the club up a little bit more in front of you with that open club face like Rory does. That's going to enable you to hit more, drop the club more down onto the ball, cut underneath the ball, get more height on your bunker shots, get more spin as well, and get a more consistent strike there, because that is something that's really important. Bunker play is all about controlling the low point and the contact into the sand. If you can control that consistently, you're going to be a really, really good bunker player. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's anything in there you didn't understand, or if there's something that's helped you. I'd love to know. Comment your thoughts down below. If there's anything else you guys are struggling with or want me to take a look at, or anything else you can think of, any other videos you want me to make, comment down below. I reply to all your comments, guys. I will see you in the next one, guys. Got some great content coming out this week for you. As always, guys, have a great week and grip it and rip it.